Hi, and welcome to the podcast. Today, it is Monday, February 26th, and for the majority of today's episode, we're going to go back in time to this past Friday, which was when they were here. A little chilly, gloomy. Now I'm looking at sunshine. I'm overdressed because I should just have a t-shirt, not a hoodie on over it. I'm kind of locked in my studio. I have a sliding door that if you've ever been in this studio, which is highly unlikely, but you're welcome, just ask. I have a sliding door like many people do in their homes because this is some kind of old facility that was not intended to be a radio station. I call that my HVAC system because the heat can be painful in here, and to let some cooler air in to keep the room temperature out of the 70s, I open up that door, even on the coldest days, because on the coldest days, it can get to 81 in here. So, yeah, I'll let 28 degrees in here. But I've lost my key. Like, I'm the only one that uses this, but I lost the key that opens the door. So, a little steamy today. We have what looks like really nice weather, or at least better than usual weather in store for the event that we're going to talk about in just a little bit here, Acoustics for Autism. That's Sunday, the 3rd, the end of this week or the beginning of next week, whichever way you want to go about it. Scott and Nicole and the crew are going to talk about how there's kind of like a dome built with all the tents. They might not be needed, not needed as they usually are. Many Sundays with Acoustics for Autism, well, there's record attendance and record money raised. It's a dreary day. Doesn't look like the case this Sunday. Knock on whatever for good luck. But also, the shuttles will be important. This is new that they've spoken to me about this year. 3 shuttle locations. Please use them. It will probably save you massive headaches when it comes to parking. We'll bring them on in just a moment here. Remember, for any context, we recorded this Friday afternoon, and it's this coming Sunday, Acoustics for Autism. And a new performer is by, not the usual ladies and the gang from Amelia Earhart's. One is on maternity mom duty. Another was in Denver. So I get to meet Steve Kennedy, and he plays something for us. Not that I'm a rodent or a groundhog or any kind of scientist, but I like to think that I've got a good sense about me. I think I'm fairly intuitive. I might have mentioned this last week on the podcast. I know I mentioned it on the air. A couple of weekends ago, when we had a day like today, I heard different birds out. And some people laughed at me for that. And that kind of gave me a clue that maybe the worst of winter is over. And when I say like the worst of it and the ferocity of it, I mean like a week at a time or several weeks where we dip back down into the 20s and there's wind chills. Like even if we have a 4 to 6 inch storm that hits us, which is very possible in March or even April, I could see it melting away pretty quickly. So I'm going to say that the ferocity and torment, the daily torment of winter is gone. Another clue on that regard is Andre's allergies are going bonkers. Like he's got to go get his allergy shot. I almost have to put his back legs underneath me somehow so he stops from itching himself. And his allergies are usually a good sign that welcome to spring. A couple other things before we dive into Acoustics for Autism. I posted something up on my Facebook page, and if you post almost anything news related on there these days, nobody will see it. But I was fascinated to read about the fee for service in reality and almost a concierge way of going about doctor's visits. And I've said before, I appreciate the heck out of my doctor who will either swap out or refill prescriptions via a message in their portal or answer a medical question so that I don't have to go in and pay or waste his time or waste someone else's time. And I guess that's kind of the mathematics that they do about it. By me not going in, taking 5 minutes to answer a question, they can see more patients. But that 5 minutes, if there's a lot of people asking questions, can add up. And I am waiting for the day when it will cost me $3 for a back and forth like that, or $1 for a prescription refill or anything through that portal. And I go, and you might go, that's ridiculous. Isn't the healthcare system expensive enough? Actually, it is. But this might be the first time in a long, long time that consumers, us, healthcare consumers, make out in the positive when it comes to spending. Please charge me in that regard so that I don't have to come in, which will be a copay, which is much more. My general practice copays now are $35. $35. My specialists are $65. I'll give you a perfect example of where this would have benefited me. I went to my acid reflux says I've not been able to kick it for almost 2 months now. I had a GI appointment on last Thursday, and I got 25 minutes. She was extremely thoughtful and insightful, asked a ton of questions, had lots of answers, had lots of experience for me. I didn't get a solution or a resolution or a conclusion, but I got everything aside from that. And I do have next steps. I have to go drink some barium for an x-ray on Wednesday. And then eventually, because I'm that age, I can do a colonoscopy now. And while I'm knocked out, do the top and the bottom. Just with, not with the same thing, please. So that will help out. But she didn't touch me. She didn't feel my stomach. She didn't have me stand up. Not a thing. We sat and spoke face to face as she took her notes. That very easily could have been a virtual visit. And instead of $65, hey, for a 25-minute visit with the specialist virtually, it's $15. Heck yeah, I'll do that rather than the $65. If you're not going to touch me, and I get that there are some things where doctors, they need to feel you. Figuratively speaking, feel the vibe and stuff, which many people probably know you can't get necessarily in a virtual visit. Other people might want the in-person visit so they can have some peace of mind and further comfort. I totally would have liked to save some of the $65 and done this virtually for everybody's benefit. Like when friends of mine, they're like, I think I want to cancel my appointment. And I think some places have gotten more lenient with last-minute cancellations in the same way that many workplaces now understand that life happens. Appointments get hit by life as well. There are other places that charge you without a 24-hour notice, and it's like the full visit. But if anybody ever throws by me, I'm thinking of not going or canceling. Like, cancel now. Cancel right now, or get your ass over there, because you're making several losers out of this. One, yourself. You might regret having missed out of the appointment if something arises shortly after. You're keeping that doctor from seeing somebody and helping somebody, and then you're keeping somebody else who could have gotten that appointment had you called 24 hours earlier, and there's a waiting list, and then that waiting list person gets your slot. So please be very thoughtful when canceling appointments. One last thing before Acoustics for Autism. Without fail, in the 3 a.m. hour every Friday, and it's because of their schedule, their work hours, whatever. I'm completely understanding of that. The person, my neighbor, brings in their gray and blue bin in the 3 o'clock hour, and I hear it, and without fail, I'm not a light sleeper, but it wakes me up. And I can't be the only one in my development. It is likely there's about 10 condos in my little driveway area. It's got to be somebody in the back, because I hear the rolling longer than somebody living within the little the little quad that I'm in. So I'm contemplating putting a very thoughtful note up on the mailbox, because I don't know. We all share a mailbox. Putting a very thoughtful note up on the mailbox. Hey, would it be possible to ask you, I understand your schedule might dictate this, would it be possible for you to not bring those in the middle of the night? If not, I would like to offer my services, and I will either, when I am able to, and I often am, because the stuff gets collected often before I know this, I'll make the note shorter. The stuff often gets collected before I leave for work. I would happily bring your bins to the front of your house or elsewhere, as to keep everybody from having to hear you roll them at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's reasonable, right? I'm not trying to be a dick at all. But I can't be the only one awakened by this. And if so, then everybody is a very loud sleeper in my little condo development. All right, Acoustics for Autism. I hope I have not jinxed it by looking at the forecast going, that's unusual. A sun and mid to upper 60s. Let's dive in with the usual suspects. Her Majesty, Her Honor, Nicole Corey, Scott Hayes, and some new faces to visit to talk about this always record-breaking event. Not the full studio that I was expecting. It's so good to have Acoustics for Autism people in here. There's even a person who I have no idea who that is. Let me introduce everybody. As always, Scott Hayes is back to talk things. How many years have you been doing all of this? Every year?
I missed the first couple.
Okay.
But I was a spectator and then a performer. The year after I was a spectator, was drawn into it, especially because of the cause. I see the good work that this organization does, 100% volunteer.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this is no one gets paid. Judge Corey started this. Nicole Corey, who is just one of the most amazing people on the planet, started this 16 years ago. It's our 17th event. And she did it because there's a need. We have people in this community that are dealing with autism spectrum disorder. And it turns out that insurance doesn't cover every treatment alternative. So what we do is simply raise money so that we can fund a scholarship endowment from which we distribute funds directly to providers for things like swimming lessons, summer camps, equine therapy, all kinds of things, music therapy, which might be good for your kid, your family, but is not covered by insurance.
Sure. Since this has been going on now, in healthcare terms, like practically a century, have some more things been covered in the time Acoustics has been going on in those 16, 17 years?
Yeah, there's been a lot of developments. There's been a lot of success stories. The great thing is you get to know the families over the years. Mm-hmm. And the judge could talk more eloquently about it than I could, but because she works directly with them, she does all the heavy lifting. But we've seen results right here in Northwest Ohio with the families we work with, and some of it is non-traditional. I couldn't name all of them. A few of the things that were noteworthy to me were we've seen success with like karate lessons. Who would have thought? But it has to do with the discipline and the repetition, but they've found great success from that. We've seen that. When this started, the number was 1 in 150. One out of every 150 people born into this world were diagnosed with ASD, and that has narrowed to 1 in 55, I think, is the latest number. Thanks for letting me reference that. So there, two things are happening. One is we're getting better. The microscope lens is getting more powerful, so we're able to detect it with better accuracy, and we're able to look closer. And early diagnosis is happening now. But also, maybe there's something in the water. There's something driving this, and I think it's a combination of both. But to answer your question, absolutely. We have seen things that are non-traditional that work, and we're happy to fund them.
Another part of that question, you do all this because, as you mentioned, so many things in the autism spectrum are not covered under healthcare insurance. Is the industry getting better that as it's gotten better, like within my realm, where more mental health things are covered, or more things when it comes to autism being covered? Is the healthcare industry and insurances and break? I see Nicole shaking her head. Good. Well, then we're going to keep raising money as much as we can for Acoustics, right?
Well, we are, but I think just like as anything evolves, right? You learn. And as things, if you follow the scientific method, things that are in practice, it takes a while to prove the theory. You might have a theory that this works well, but until it is repeated, it's able to be repeated with different variables, you're able to then determine that this, in fact, works, and there's no doubt about it. It's not just one family having success. It is statistically powerful when you have hundreds or thousands of people responding to a treatment modality. So it is trending in the right direction, and I think more things will be covered by insurance. But we're not worried about one bit about being out of a job,
Right.
so to speak.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
There's always going to be things that we're going to push the envelope for and try to.
If autism treatments become 100% covered, it's not like Nicole and the team are packing up Acoustics. Job's done. We're over.
Right. I don't see that happening.
I'll come back to you. I know we've got some other things to touch on. Jay Lee, good to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You are, and I don't think Nicole has ever brought a volunteer by.
I'm one of the best volunteers of all time.
And very
I'm
humble
one of the best
too.
looking volunteers you've ever seen.
I would say that. First, how do I spell your name?
My name is Jamel, but everyone calls me Jay because they got tired of calling me Jamal and me correcting them.
Okay.
Last name Lee, so everyone calls me Jay Lee for short.
How did you get involved with Acoustics?
I've been involved for about 5 or 6 years now. I was on community service, and I'm just kidding. But no, seriously though, I heard about it. I asked to volunteer. I reached out. I've actually met families with children on the spectrum who this directly affects, and it's just powerful. It's very powerful. It's something to be a part of, and I'm never not going to be a part of it. I'm sorry, English teacher, for using negatives there.
No English teachers listen to me. Trust me. What about the day of the event, which is frantic in some ways, but in other ways, like you can take a step back and go, it's up and running. What's the day like for you?
This probably is going to be one of my biggest years yet, because Scott he's hand selected me to run behind him all day, so I'm kind of nervous. But usually it's just making sure everybody's having a good time. I'm usually having a good time. Sometimes I forget that I'm volunteering because I'm running around listening to all the music and all the different tents. The weather's always perfect, even if it's not. The tents take care of that.
Yeah.
It's always a good day, no matter what you're there for. Even if you don't really have anybody directly affected by autism or the spectrum, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't like live music? Who doesn't love cover bands? We have some of the best cover bands coming out here. Obviously, we got the Arctic Clam. Skittlebot's one of my favorites. Distant Cousins is going to be amazing. It always is.
Every name that people like seeing pop up at local bars for performances, they're all collected in one day. Like if you love a certain local band, they're very likely on the list of. Nicole, is it over 100 yet? Are we over 100 performers?
Could be if I wanted to. Next year it will be.
Okay.
95, Eric.
95
this year.
Growing all the time, which is great. And one of the performers, Steve Kennedy, is here. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Eric.
I will come back to you. I do want to hear Scott's story about Hulk Hogan. You're Hulk Hogan's biggest music fan? Is that how that works?
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother. I like that.
Yeah. Can I tell it now?
No, let's do the business stuff first.
Okay.
We got some things to take care of. We talked about tents, but nothing. We deal with weather every year, although fingers crossed, I hoping for good weather this year. It seems a little warm now. We're all knocking on things. No light snow showers or nothing. The tents take care of things, but also another way to get covered with shuttles. Give me a little bit on both of those.
First of all, regardless of what the weather is, it doesn't matter. We have created this event and logistically did gymnastics and have figured out a way to connect all of the venues basically with a 10-second walk out of a heated tent into a brick and mortar building. The Elks, Buster Brown's, Village Idiot, Small Box Music. Now we have the Mommy Indoor Theater down that will be specializing in some sensory friendly stuff for kids. But our tents, including the kids' tent out on Wayne Street, is heated. The huge tent, now we've got one. It used to be a patchwork of tents. Mm-hmm. We've worked with the City of Maumee, who have been fantastic, and we've figured out a way, thanks to the volunteers that understand logistics and understand engineering. I would call out Brian Snagaki and Lenny Snagaki as being geniuses. We figured out how to put one huge tent and literally take over every blade of grass that we can so that you are as comfortable as you can be, and so that you, when you want to go explore and go to the silent auction area, you can do that and stay warm and or protected from the elements. You can walk just through an opening, and the next thing you know, you're on the deck of Buster Brown's, or you're at the door of the Village Idiot, or at the Elks. So we've made it so that it is an experience that weather really doesn't matter. Now, you mentioned shuttles. So glad you did that. We've got 3 shuttles that will drop you off at the front door. We've always had Cock and Bull. We've always had Parkway Place in Maumee. Mm-hmm. So Jed's and Cock and Bull. So downtown or Maumee, great, easy to park. hop on a shuttle. But we've added Levis Commons this year, so people in Perrysburg can take a shuttle from Draftcade. So we're imploring everyone to get online. Go to acousticsforautism.com, and if you click the current event, you can find shuttle schedule. We're asking everyone to buy their shuttle tickets in advance, so that way, as a courtesy, so that way it's cheaper, but B, the company that we're working with can adequately adjust their fleet. So if they know they're going to get a rush at this time at downtown or in Maumee, they can adjust accordingly. They're going to run from about 11:30 to 11 p.m. Draftcade has a little bit different schedule, but you can find that all at acousticsforautism.com.
I know when we do like Tarta things from the mall to downtown, like every half hour or whatever it is, how often do you know offhand how they will run so people plan their day?
They're going to adjust that based on the need, but you can count on every hour.
Okay.
On the hour, every hour, pick up at these locations.
Excellent. All right, what's the Hulk Hogan story for Steve Kennedy?
All right, so I'm Steve. He's a fellow musician. We've played over the years, and I've never seen anyone that can cop Brian Johnson from AC/DC like the man can. And whenever we played, we'd always try to get him on stage and do TNT or another AC/DC song because it just blows me away. I get this. I'm watching Facebook, and there's a video. It might have been a live feed. I might have hit it lucky. And I see Steve Kennedy is playing in Florida. Karaokeing in Florida. And he gets up and he does TNT at a bar. And I see this huge man headbanging and just like in awe. And it is Hulk Hogan. And it was really him. And he fell in love with Steve Kennedy. He made it public. There were posts after it. He was in awe that this man played his favorite song and sounded exactly like the artist. And only the lovable Steve Kennedy could ever pull that off.
Steve, how do you feel about Hulk Hogan's infatuation with you?
It was surreal. It was a cool experience down there.
Does he hop into your DMs every now and then when he's had maybe a long night of partying and he's like, Steve, I need some TNT on Facebook. Can you give it to me, buddy?
I've been trying to get him as a personal trainer, but it's just too much work for him.
Right. Well, I mean, I think mostly retired.
Right.
Wait, this was probably what, like Tampa or something down there?
Yep, Clearwater.
Yeah, I know that's his part of the state down there. If you had to describe what kind of music you do, what kind of performer you are to somebody that didn't know you, will say me. How would you describe yourself?
I've been told a lot. I'm an entertainer. Like he said, there's 95 bands or musicians.
Yeah.
I'm the best.
With the best looking volunteer.
Thank you. With the best looking volunteer.
I love the energy in here.
Amelia Earhart's have been excommunicated from visiting the show anymore. I didn't know that there was talent better than that. But
Megan had to go have a baby.
right, very rude of Megan and John to be so careless and reckless to have a baby. Megan's going to be okay to play, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
She's
I'm sorry.
excited.
Let me get back to the talented Steve here. So who and what are you?
I just play covers, mainly solo, and I got to use a looper, and I do everything from Johnny Cash to Future and Post. I mean, really anything, 70s, 80s now.
Where are you mostly playing? Where can people find you most often? Where can they find you online?
I'm all over the place. I'm at Kickstand Saloon tonight on Alexis, and then tomorrow I'm playing the Burning Snowman Fest in Port Clinton.
Yeah, baby.
Woo.
And Wesley's late night, a 10:30 to 1:30 gig.
Wow.
Is the snowman on fire?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be melted by the time I'm done.
Yeah, there's a 25-foot snowman they have out there in Port Clinton. I love the fact that it pokes at a bunch of snobby, rich, super smart people. So it's a good time.
It poked at me. I must be super smart.
Right. You're always out at Burning Man with the Elon Musks of the world and all the other CEOs.
I couldn't even get a job there.
No, you could. Steve, somewhere in between Johnny Cash and Future, you got any like pop things we can do? Like 90s hip hop? 2000s hip hop?
I do have all that. Yeah.
Can you give me some? She's shaking her head.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was a flinch. That's what it was. Steve, whatever you'd like to give me, I am happy to hear. So we can have people come out and see you at all these places.
Sure. This is a little song by T.I. Stacks on deck, Patron on ice. We can pop bottles all night. Shorty, you could have whatever you like. You could have whatever you like. Talking late nights, so tight. Gas up the jet for you tonight, girl, and you could go wherever you like. You could go wherever you like. I said, no, anytime you want to pick up the telephone. You know it ain't nothing to drop a couple stacks on you. You want it, go get it, I got it, I buy it. Tell the mother broke jokers, be quiet. Stacks on deck, Patron on ice. We can pop bottles all night. Shorty, you could have whatever you like. You could have whatever you like.
If T.I. heard that, I could see him being a bigger fan of you than Hulk Hogan is of you.
Let me tell you
go
something,
way
brother.
back.
When I hear Steve Kennedy,
Thanks for coming by. Good to meet you.
Thanks
Good
for
luck
having
with
me.
everything. Have a great time this weekend. Acoustics for Autism, March 2nd?
Third.
Sorry, my dates are off. We've got shuttles. Scott, give me those one more time, please.
Yeah, shuttles from Parkway Place in Maumee, starting at 11:30. Cock and Bull downtown as well. And then we have Levis Commons, Draftcade. Go to acousticsforautism.com. Go to current event. You can see the schedule for shuttles. We're asking you to buy those tickets in advance. It helps us appropriately staff. Thank you.
And it sounds like when you were describing, you can go from one place to the other without even enduring the elements. It sounds like a couple things to me. One, we used to have some of those downtown where you can go across the buildings and not worry about weather. I know that was a thing in some real cold cities like Minneapolis.
Minneapolis is
Yes.
completely connected.
You can walk 6 blocks and not be outside.
Yeah.
This thing sounds like a dome, and it's going to be heated. So with the way that you guys always have not the best luck with weather, watch. It's going to be 83, and you're not going to be able to turn the heat off. But you guys will always survive, and it's always a great time at Acoustics.
Well, thank you, and thanks for your support. We couldn't pull this off without partners like you. But I'll tell you one more thing. Great Lakes Sound, the best sound company in the business, in my opinion. They are upping the ante with the PA and the big tent this year. So sound lights are going to be an extravaganza to see.
Well, when you have these guys, the most talented performer there, and you've got Jay Lee, who is clearly the most talented and the best looking, male or female, volunteer, they have
people
high
come
demands.
for that, right?
They have high demands. They're not sound check.
they're not gonna
Nobody's going to
settle.
be around. So everybody, good to meet you guys. Her Majesty,
Great
Her
to meet
Honor,
you.
good to see you. Thanks for everything as always. Scott, good to hang. Good luck with everything. Not that you need it. It's going to be another big year. What's the no? I lose it every year. I know we're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars raised for a Project I Am, right?
Yeah. We're hoping to get to the $1 million mark where we can say that we've distributed $1 million to families that really need it. We're hoping to beat last year's in the clear, and this is good for a free event. Remember that, 180,000. We think we can do that. The great people and the gracious people of Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan will come and show up and support us, and we're going to do it.
we also have a silent auction going live at Monday
Yes.
at 9 o'clock.
This Monday. So take a sneak peek. Go to acousticsforautism.com. Thanks for reminding me, Jay Lee. Silent auction goes live Monday.
Off the top of anybody's head, know some of the items people could look forward to, or some of the Scott.
I've got one that nobody better touch.
Okay.
So it turns out that Nicole's uncle, Steve Safarian, he moved to San Francisco right out of high school and is a huge music fan. He had a very cool day job where he worked for federal judges, but he also worked every major concert that they had in the Bay Area. And he has assembled this large, I don't know, what is it, 4x3, 5x3, it's probably 5 foot wide, framed official backstage passes from everyone from Steely Dan to Keith Urban to Toby Keith to you name it. I mean, every major act. It's good to look at. It's just a cool thing to have on the wall. But the stories behind all those backstage passes, I want it. I want to be able to say, yeah, I was there. Look, here's my backstage pass. But that's one of my favorites. But we've got all kinds of experiences, all kinds of memorabilia, just about anything you would want in a silent auction. We've got hundreds of items, and it's going to go live.
You can be a guest DJ with Denny Schaefer in the morning and with Lynn Casey in the morning. That's 2 different items.
What about afternoon with our gracious host?
I don't know. We'll see if
With me, you can have the show for free. And as you can see, I let anybody in here. So, guys, as always, good luck with everything. Great to see everybody. How you two do this massive event, one of the biggest events. I told the mayor the other day. This Mommy's opening day, and the light bulb went off above his head. This massive event with 30,000 people? 50?
About half that.
Half that? Okay.
I think we're going to hit 20 this year. I think the chamber is quoting from last year 18,000. I think we'll hit 20.
How you guys can pull all this off, I know it's with so much of the volunteer self, mostly from Jay Lee. The other volunteers are simply peasants, but how you guys can pull this off with what you do is almost a miracle. Yeah, man.
Well, honestly, actually, the reason, the one who you do not know, this is Kelsey. She's our newest volunteer.
Hello.
Say hi, Kelsey.
So far below. You won't ever hear about me again.
You'll hear all about her. She's going to
make
great.
waves.
She's going to make waves.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
On the Jay Lee, on the looks list, if you're top of the food chain of the best looking volunteers, where does Kelsey fall?
Oh, listen. You can never be at the top of the food chain. There's always someone who's going to eat you alive.
So you're saying she's like solidly in the 70s of volunteers when it comes to looks?
Oh no, she's top 10.
Okay,
they just don't know it yet.
Okay, we'll do another podcast where we go exactly through those. And
Let's rate the volunteer.
Yeah, rate the volunteers.
This is not Facebook.
Right. Everybody, good to see everybody. Thank you so much.
We love you, man.
Thank you.